Hey everybody, I'm Sam Haymart and you're watching Growing Older Gay. This is Kitchen Table for April 4th, 2025. Kitchen Table is my weekly check-in with you, my viewers, to let you know what's on my mind this week, what's being discussed at my kitchen table, and what I'm hearing being discussed at the LGBTQ plus kitchen tables around my fishbowl. And just sort of a quick put it out there, I have to tell you that I know my audience is not very large, and this particular video that we do every week doesn't get the most views of the content that we put out there. And that's okay. This is just my opportunity to sit down and talk directly to you as if you were paying for a Patreon. And we don't have that quite up yet, but maybe someday if this channel gets bigger, we'll have a Patreon that really has a lot of really exclusive stuff on it. But for now, because this is a very small channel and brand new channel, it's like Patreon. You get the inside stuff. So this week, a lot of interesting things happened out there in the world, not only here in town where I live, but out there in the world at large. Obviously, Shit Show 2025 continues. There were some scenes this last week that nobody really could have written, right? And it was just a crazy time out there in the universe. Special elections, more stuff going on in Washington. And in Washington, something that really gave me a smile this week and made me feel like, maybe it's not over just yet. Senator Cory Booker from New Jersey got up and filibustered in the Senate a record-breaking speech, 25 hours and 5 minutes, which broke the previous record, 24 hours and some change, Strom Thurmond back in the 50s. He was a racist person who got up and was trying to stop the civil rights actions that were going on. And he filibustered the Senate back then. Cory Booker gets up and talks about the fact that we're going through a very not normal time. And he spoke from the heart. He spoke emotionally. And it brought me to tears more than once checking in on what he was saying. And some of the highlights, and you can surely find those out there on the internet, very moving stuff. And he really rose to the top as a leader of the Democratic Party, just doing that I think really puts him on the map for a future in being a leader of the resistance, so to speak. But he really spoke from the heart. He used Bible verses. He used moral right and wrong arguments. And he just really spoke in a way that if your heart is open and your mind is open, you might really get something out of it. And it really warmed my heart, not only to see somebody finally standing up and doing something besides sitting back and going, well, there's nothing we can do with what's going on out there. So it was heartening. It was heartening at the best. And so we'll see how things go in the next presidential cycle. If he runs for president again, I wouldn't mind seeing a Booker Buttigieg ticket. That might be interesting, or a Buttigieg Booker ticket, whatever. It might be interesting if the pendulum swings back that far. Wouldn't that be nice? And sort of on the same wavelength, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've really been diving into them because in my day job, it's a job where I just really need something going on besides what I'm staring at. It really helps me to concentrate, actually. And so one of the podcasts I was listening to, a guest on that program was Kaelen Strouse. And I'd never heard of this gentleman. Very hot guy. He's got some NS, not safe for work, social media out there. And then he's got some safe work stuff. But he is a spiritual guide, a teacher, an author. And he's very much into the spiritual wavelength of things. And if you look at his Blue Sky or his X, there's a lot of wavelength to see there. But he's really got a lot to say. And one of the things I heard him say really struck me, and that is the difference between an ordeal and an adventure is perspective. And that really sort of encapsulates my view of the world that we're living in right now. Yes, it's a scary time out there. Yes, there's a lot of bad things happening. But the reality is there's so much of that stuff that me personally, right here, right now, there is literally nothing that I can do about it. So I choose to spend my days trying to really be in the present, and my perspective is that the people who are in front of me and around me and the things that I can do here to make my community better and to comfort those who are hurting, I can do that. I may not be able to change what's going on in Washington right now here today, but I can have a good attitude, I can be loving, and I can do things like this. I can tell my friends out there in the world, as well as the ones here close, that I love them, I love you, and let you know that it's going to be okay if we all stick together and really do what we can to help each other and love each other. And this gentleman really, I've been sort of binge watching a lot of his stuff, both on the good side and on the normal mainstream side. Check it out. Links down below in the information section. You can check out his YouTube channel, Ecstatic Self, as well as his website, Ecstatic Self. It's very uplifting. And so, speaking of uplifting, I want to talk about an event coming up. Folsom Street East has made their full announcement, June 15th in New York, New York. And basically, it's just like the Folsom Street Fair, only it's in New York. And there's a full bit of information on their website, link down below, folsomstreeteast.com. They have their own separate website. I've been to Folsom in San Francisco, and it's a lot of fun. And this is really pretty much the same thing, only in the East. And so mark that date. I wish I could be there, but I will be at IML just literally 2 weeks before that. And my bank account and my vacation time from my job will be empty for a while. So I probably won't be able to make it. On another big event, Houston Bears puts on their big bear camp every year in May. And a big thing that really hit the social media and news this week was an unfortunate situation where Grizzly Pines, a well-known gay campground in Texas, well, they have a policy against trans men. As it turned out, Houston Bears pulled their event from that venue because of that. And so as a response to that, Grizzly Pines put out a statement that was very transphobic, sort of defending themselves as to why they don't allow trans men there. They, on one hand, tried to say they were inclusive and loving and all-encompassing, but trans men can't come to our property. And they put this announcement up on Transgender Awareness Day of all days. Not a good look. And so not only was this transphobic, not only was it mocking of a pretty large group, the Houston Bears, they just really stepped in it. That's really no better way to put it. Houston Bears has moved their event to a place called Rainbow Ranch. It's still going on. Their website, bearcamp.org, is the event website. You can find out all about it. I encourage you to not only sort of look at the Grizzly Pines venue and think about their policy and how you might treat their business going forward, but also support Houston Bears for being inclusive. This is a men's bear group that also is very inclusive to not only all body types and all personalities, but trans men as well. And that really gets me to a little bit of a soapbox that I'm going to stand on. Look, I came from a generation that really didn't have a lot of trans people around. And so as I evolved as a gay man myself, I didn't necessarily know any trans people. I didn't really understand it. Was it a little scary to think about? Yeah, because I didn't know about it. But the thing is we are living in a time right now that's a little bit different. If you are still a little bit phobic around trans people, or you don't understand or you don't know trans people, it's time to get with the program and stop being like that. Because in all of the conversation that I saw around this issue on the internet this week, there were a couple comments to the effect that, well, the owners of this place, Grizzly Pines, are part of the MAGA crowd. Now, I don't know that to be a fact. But what I can tell you is that their policy and their behavior here is very MAGA. It's very MAGA. It's very exclusive. It's very otherizing, and it fits. If the shoe fits. So maybe they're MAGA, maybe they're not, but they sure are acting that way, because excluding people from the community, especially in a time like this, isn't reading the room very well. We're in a time right now where a number of the colors on our rainbow flag are being picked off and picked on and trying to be excluded, not only by the people in Washington and the Red Hat crowd, but by some of the people in our own community who, I don't know why they feel like they have to do that. I don't know what kind of selfishness, what kind of coldness, what kind of loathing that they have in their heart that's causing them to behave this way, but I see it online. There are a lot of gay men out there in particular who want to drop the T from the LGBT. And that's just bullshit. If you are thinking that way, you are no better than the rest of the red hats out there that are attacking our community at large. You're no better. you're just like one of the Jews that voted for Hitler back in the 1930s. And I'm sorry to say that, but if you're one of these people, or you own a business and you're excluding trans people just because you don't like them, you don't understand them, or you think that you need to be exclusive to men, I'm warning you that you're not reading the room, and you're not going to be on the right side of history. And gay people remember, we have long memories. I remember the bullies. I remember their faces. I remember their names, who got on me in high school and in grade school when I was growing up. I know who they are. I remember them. I remember my Christian friend, who was a longtime best friend, who when I came out to him, he said, "My only question for you is, are you saved?" And then he never spoke to me again. I remember that person. I remember these things. I remember businesses where a person at the counter called me a faggot that I've never been to again, and I told all my friends. So if you're a business, it's not a good look. So just saying. So support this group, the Houston Bears. If you're looking for something to do in May, go down to their bear camp. Show them some love. They can use it. All right. And so the last thing I'll talk about is gay hookup safety. And we talked about it a little bit last week. We have a video series right now that has a number of different aspects of tips and tricks to stay alive and to protect yourself when you're out there hooking up on the apps or cruising, or you're traveling or hosting, whatever it may be. We've got some different angles to how to protect yourself, how to look out for your own safety, how to look for red flags, and how to get home at the end of the night in one piece. This was inspired, of course, by a person here in our local community who went missing in February and who was found deceased just a couple of weeks ago here in town. He was last reported to be going out on a blind date in February when he disappeared. His truck, his wallet, his phone still have not been found. Just be careful out there. And so I would encourage you to check out our series, which is Gay Hookup Safety. We had one episode last week. We have a new episode this week, and I encourage you to see our latest episode right there. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel right there. Either way, stay tuned.